Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Crypto Crow, and I'm doing a video that I haven't done for like 2 years. And I felt it was time to try and help you guys better understand how you can genuinely make $1 million, how you can genuinely become a millionaire by the peak of the next market, sometime in 2021, 2022, to be realistic about it. And I'm going to show you some things that you should look at, things to consider, and I'm going to give you a very solid example of a coin that I believe is going to make a lot of people millionaires over the next 2 years, and I'm going to explain the numbers behind it and more. So stick with me, watch the video to the end so that you get a pure understanding as to exactly what it is I'm talking about and why I'm so confident in my practice in cryptocurrencies. Now, one of the first things that I want to show is a Bitcoin chart. Now, these charts here are relevant because I'm basically showing you how I charted out some of the figures that I'm going to be presenting in some slides, a couple of images with a lot of numbers on them. But this is basically showing Bitcoin's price action potential if it were to just get to $100,000 by the peak of the next market. Let's just call it somewhere around January 1st of 2022. Okay, so we're talking less than 2 years until this happens. But from the current price of around $11,458, somewhere along there, all the way up to $100,000, we're looking at a Bitcoin price increase of 733% just in that momentum there, just in that price action there. If we were to take that all the way back from the low, I mean, you're talking 1,200–1,300% increase from the cycle low. And I've taken basically price action cycles from the low of back in like 2015 as it moved through 2016 and then into the parabolic run up. And, you know, you're looking at thousands of percentages in terms of gain. And what we're ultimately looking at, if we compare the market cycle today with what was happening previously, we're seeing that the typical bull runs are down by like a third. So every bull cycle, in terms of just Bitcoin's price alone, we're talking about basically a third less than it was the previous cycle. And I think a big part of that is because as the price increases, the more difficult it is to trade it. And by that I mean, you know, a lot of people, they go into it and they want to see full price action. So, you know, if they're trading with a full Bitcoin, it's a lot easier when Bitcoin was $600 compared to when Bitcoin's 11,000, 12,000, 15,000, and so forth. So what we're seeing is as more people hold it, because they're riding that trend or they're riding that bull cycle, more and more people are holding it, which means there's less available supply on the markets. And ultimately, there's a lot more price activity going on with much less Bitcoin, which ultimately increases the price for everything everybody is holding as well. And this is a key principle to something like a proof of stake network, which are basically altcoins that are, you can stake them on a wallet for a yield, a consistent return on that staking investment, which has to do with one of the projects I'm going to go over. Now, some of the other things that I want you to take away from this video is kind of like your altcoin metrics, okay? I'm going to be kind of showing you a bunch of different numbers about a particular project, and I'm going to explain what it will take for somebody to become a true millionaire by owning that particular token. But a lot of the same metrics and the same numbers apply to just about anything. And some of these key metrics I want you to look at when you're trying to figure out what has a really strong potential of rising up far and above where it is currently. And a gauge for that is establishing how far up it is now against its cycle low. So if we're looking at the number one coin right now, we're looking at Aave, Lend token. Its cycle low is 0.003 cents. It's currently sitting at 81 cents. It's been growing massively, up 25,000%. Now, this could be a very good project, and from there you want to try and figure out, What other metrics are there associated with this blockchain? You go and you research everything that you can about that particular project. What is it? What does it do? Who are its competitors? What are its competitors doing? How much are its competitors growing over them? What do the competitors have that this project doesn't? How's the team? And that's how you really start basically establishing fundamental research on a particular project. Because the question isn't necessarily just how far has it come since its cycle low, but how much further it could possibly get throughout the bull cycle, and what sorts of developments, partnerships, what sorts of those types of things are going to help carry it from where it is to where you expect it to go to make $1 million. You'll see Chainlink here up 10,000% since its cycle low of just 16 cents. It's currently at almost $17. Ren, Bancor, Theta token, a lot of these coins. Theta token's up 1,190%, and it's currently just at 50 cents. The other equation, the other part of the equation to take into account is the current price. Because as the price increases on some of these altcoins, you're going to see that some of the money that would have possibly went into that altcoin are going to go into something much cheaper, because it's going to be easier to get that 10x, 20x, 80, 150, 200x return on that investment, right? So in other words, if I'm looking at something like VeChain, which is currently up 769% from its cycle low of 0.001 cents, at that point, it's currently sitting at under 2 cents still, and it's already gotten that kind of growth, which is pretty significant. And the idea is, what does VeChain do? Why is it growing? Why is the sentiment growing already? Why is it growing so quickly? What is it doing that its competitors are not? What is its edge? And can that edge help carry it on to above and beyond this, under 2 cent mark? Could this get to 50 cents, $1, $2? How high could VeChain go? Those are the questions that you want to try and establish and then answer in your own due diligence on each of these projects. Here you have Cardano, okay? Cardano is currently sitting at 11.5 cents. It's up 5% over Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. It's up 475% since its cycle low of about 2 cents. There was a time, and I continue to kick my own butt every single day. There was a time I could have bought over 418,000 Cardano for the price of just 1 Bitcoin. And I didn't do it because I didn't want to have to go through everything to get into the accounts and to do the transfers and to do all that stuff. And I'm dying inside, folks. Truly, I'm truly dying inside. I should have, millions of Cardano right now. I've got a nice amount, but I don't have millions. I will say though that my pool is still growing. 171 delegators on the Crow node with 2.36 million ADA staked. So that's actually pretty good. I've been catching some flack on my pledge amount. The pledge amount, I've talked to my developer quite a bit about this, and he's gone into the developers pool or the pool developers groups on Telegram, and basically even the Cardano site says the pledge is not that significant. It plays such a minuscule. It's just not that significant of a thing. So, but other pledge guy, there's one other pledge guy who's like really mad that my pledge is so low. I don't know. I think he's just really, really salty. So anyway, so moving forward, I'm going to pull up some information here. This is Cardano. Now, I have been in the cryptocurrency space since, mid 2017. Okay. And I have seen a lot of cryptocurrency projects. I have read a lot of white papers. I have gone through the gambit when it comes to understanding a lot of these different crypto projects and quite frankly, all sectors. And back in the day, when I first discovered Cardano back in 2017, I was insanely bullish on it. And during that bullish period, Cardano was basically a white paper, a name we all knew heading up the project, and Charles Hoskinson, who was one of the, and he hates to be acknowledged as this, but he was one of the co-creators of Ethereum. And in that creation of Ethereum, there were a lot of fundamental differences that I guess he had with other members of the Ethereum team, and he broke away and started Cardano. And he developed Cardano specifically to address a lot of the issues he foresaw in some of the weak points of Ethereum. And at the time of Cardano's all-time high of like $1.33 back in like January of 2018, it was still just a white paper. It wasn't decentralized. It had no smart contracts. It basically had nothing. It was an idea by some of the greatest minds in the cryptocurrency space and a team of developers and foundations and different organizations, ultimately all working together to create what is now coming to fruition after all these years. And it's currently trading at around 11 to 11 and a half cents. So I'm basing all of these digits, all these figures, on a purchase price of about 11 cents. Its all-time low was just under 2 cents. And if we look at the market and where this coin is now compared to where it was at its all-time low, we're up 488.5% since that low. Bitcoin itself is only up 307% from that same period, that same low, to now. So we're seeing Cardano's obviously growing much quicker in valuation than Bitcoin is. And I do expect that trend to continue. And this is one of the things that people have to consider when they see Bitcoin spiking in value, and then suddenly it drops, but then there's an influx of price action in the altcoin market. That's because a lot of these fiat gateways or fiat on-ramps that you buy Bitcoin first, that Bitcoin then gets transferred to the exchange of choice and then transferred into whatever altcoin people want. And it tends to be a buying cycle based off of what's going on in the market. Its current circulating supply is over 31 billion out of a total 45 billion that will ever exist. And it's been noted that there will never be a burn. So at some point in the future, there will be 45 billion ADA tokens circulating throughout the world. But currently, just in the last couple of months since Shelley, the decentralization protocol for Cardano, has launched, we already have almost half, 44.72% of the total circulating ADA is being staked right now and earning rewards on staking pools, which means that there's a much less supply currently available on the market than there was even when Cardano was originally $1.33. Again, $1.33 in a market without any institutional investment. We're talking a fledgling market, and Cardano was just an idea, and it was fueled all the way up to $1.33 by pure speculation alone. Nothing even concrete. Almost half of that supply that was available on the market at the original all-time high is now locked into staking, with less people being willing to sell it. Why sell something that you can just hold and earn more of? It's not as necessary to trade Cardano in these small ebbs and flows of the market, because in doing that, you're going to lose staking rewards now. So I anticipate even a larger supply of the available Cardano on the open market being locked up in staking as the staking pools grow, the number of pools grow, and saturation starts to level out across all the pools, and there needs to be more. We're going to see more of it. It's going to continue to grow. This is the very beginning of what Cardano has to offer. And the big thing is, Goguen hasn't even launched yet. Goguen is basically the protocol that's going to enable Cardano to institute smart contracts. And not only that, but it's going to enable Ethereum dApp developers to migrate those applications from the Ethereum blockchain that's currently struggling in major ways with high transactional fees due to bloat and due to a lot of the number of DeFi applications running. It's low scalability. It has a lot of issues, okay? And they're working on potentially fixing these issues with Ethereum 2.0. But many of us don't believe in Ethereum 2.0, and we ultimately don't believe that we're going to see a lot of these issues get fixed. And Cardano has been built from the ground up to already take these issues into account, build a resolution to those, and make sure that they far outweigh what people are currently expecting in the market. And a lot of that is because Cardano is ultimately being developed. Well, you know what? Let's just go to the next slide here. Bullish reasons for a major Cardano pump. Number one, true decentralization. The idea is that as more and more pools continue to spout up and more people are staking their ADA, that Cardano could truly become one of the most decentralized blockchains in the world. And that's the ultimate goal. Number 2 is true scalability. The ability to grow and add applications to the blockchain without slowing down transaction times is a big issue with a lot of the blockchains currently existing out there. And Cardano is looking to address all those with the way Cardano is fundamentally designed and deployed. Smart contracts and migration from Ethereum. So while we're constantly hearing about Ethereum this and DeFi that, the vast majority of these DeFi applications are built on Ethereum, and they're slowing down the network and they're jacking up transaction fees to the point where people are wanting to utilize those less and less. Cardano is addressing all of those concerns. Interoperability, built to solve real-world economic problems. Look, the foundation of Cardano and Emergo and IOHK are ultimately building relationships with foreign countries such as Africa and others, Mongolia, a lot of these different countries, and teaching people within these communities and within these cities and countries on how to develop on the Cardano blockchain for all of the various things that they need to keep track of. And it's ultimately going to be utilized to resolve a lot of real economic problems in some of these new frontier countries, if you will. And I believe that it's going to do a very good job of that. You know, a lot of people would give Charles Hoskinson a lot of crap because it seems like he's in a different country all the time. Well, of course, he's in a different country all the time because he's building relationships with the governments of these countries to basically explain, hey, this is what we're building, this is how you can utilize it, and this is how we're going to make your country better, stronger, and more competitive in the global marketplace. And he's been gaining a lot of ground. And as that continues to grow and more of these countries start implementing this blockchain for their own personal uses, their economic uses, their business uses, you name it, it's going to increase the traffic and it's going to increase the transactional fees being paid out in Cardano and ultimately increasing the demand for Cardano on a global scale. What do you think that global increase in value or that global increase in demand is going to mean when the market is consistently lessening and lessening because of everybody staking it for potential yields, or annual yields rather? It's going to be a big deal. Developed by top minds in a peer-reviewed manner. So you're talking about some of the biggest minds in cryptocurrency and development all work just like Charles Hoskinson has said in the past. This isn't about bringing on a Haskell developer. They brought on the creator of Haskell to work on this. They are bringing the best top minds in the space and bringing them all together and writing up these peer-reviewed documents explaining their plans, what they're looking to develop and how to implement it, and they're getting the opinions of all of these top minds before they even implement them. And that's a really big deal. It's not just like 4 or 5 guys in a basement somewhere with a dream of conquering the world with their new blockchain, which isn't necessarily a bad thing at all. There's a lot of innovation there that comes from stuff like that. But that's just not the case here. You're talking about some of the greatest minds in the space working together to create what I believe is going to become one of the greatest blockchains we've ever known. Built to solve problems from Ethereum, which we've already addressed. Proof of stake and rewards. Lower available supply, which we've already addressed, and much more is in the works. Voltaire and beyond. I mean, the idea is Charles and team want Cardano utilized for elections for major countries throughout the world. And they're building an infrastructure and a system to empower countries to be able to do exactly that. And that's a very, very big deal. Now, let's get into some numbers. Okay, what would it take to become a true millionaire through Cardano? $1 million. $1 million, which is becoming worth less and less every day right now with the way the Fed is printing money in the US. But if Cardano were to get to just $1, okay, even if it for whatever reason dropped the ball and it only got to $1, less than its original all-time high, at 11 cents, you'd need to spend $110,000 just to become a millionaire by probably the peak of the market. Still a significant increase in value. At $2, if ADA reaches just $2, 70 cents over its original all-time high, 55 grand can make you a millionaire. At $3, $36,666 to make you a millionaire. Now, keep in mind, you can also subtract approximately 5% of this if you're staking what you purchase over the course of a year, because that 5% yield on average is going to get you where you need to be to round off those numbers. And it goes down the list at $4. A $4 Cardano buying in right now at 11 cents, you're spending $27,500 to become a millionaire. At $5, 22 grand. 22 grand can make you a millionaire by holding Cardano. $6 Cardano, 18 grand. A $7 Cardano, 15,000, almost 16 grand. An $8 Cardano means investing $13,750 today. A $9 Cardano is $12,222 invested, and a $10 Cardano, which to me honestly could still be very, very conservative. But at a $10 Cardano, if you're buying in right now, you could potentially become a millionaire with just 11 grand. And you know, some of you out there are saying, wow, man, this isn't the kind of millionaire video I want to spend $1,000 and become a millionaire. And there might be some opportunity to do exactly that. But the idea is that I believe that a lot of these projects are still only going to go so far by the peak of this next market. And the reason for that is adoption. While Cardano is going to be making huge leaps and bounds in their development cycles, their roadmaps, and the actual implementation of the protocols necessary to bring Cardano to where we all know it's going to be, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have overnight adoption. You know, when Cardano finally gets listed on CoinBase, we could see a 300% increase in price action just like that overnight. It's a moment we're all waiting for. As new countries get involved with Cardano, as new partnerships are established and announced, because something tells me, quite frankly, that once Goguen launches, we're going to start seeing a lot of announcements. And to be quite honest with you, in my own personal opinion, and keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, I don't know anything, I'm just some dude on the internet telling you a bunch of gobbledygook that I want you to figure out for yourselves. But in a nutshell, there's going to come a day when I believe that developers are going to be leaving the Ethereum blockchain like rats off the Titanic. And I believe that a lot of these people are going to find themselves migrating their applications and better developing and fixing their applications utilizing the Cardano blockchain and everything they have to offer. And that's one of the reasons why I did this video structured around Cardano alone, because it's one of the few projects that I wholeheartedly believe that the numbers I'm presenting right here could very well make a lot of people a millionaire or better by the peak of this next market. And if you utilize some of the strategies and just some of the simple fundamental perspectives that I utilize, I think you'll have a much better way of finding additional tokens on the market that might even make it easier for you. There are some projects out there trading at fractions of a penny right now that through its increase in valuation over time could very well make people a millionaire. What I will say, and as I close this 24 minute video out, is to always be very, very careful. Don't just jump on anything every YouTuber out there says is going to go to the moon, including me, because we could always be wrong and anything can happen in the crypto space. While we are led to believe that we are, growing by leaps and bounds in this market, and we are still just an infant learning to walk. The cryptocurrency space overall is still extremely risky, and anything can happen. Any money invested in this space can be lost. You could lose it, you could get hacked. Also, always use Google two-factor on every account you have. Never use the same password more than once, and don't save them in your browser. Make sure that you write down very long. Don't ever use a password with less than 12 characters in it and make it all crazy. And write it down in a book that you keep locked away safe. That's my advice for getting started, keeping things safe. And look, I hope sincerely that you use what I'm telling you in this video to start doing your own research. You start looking at some of the tools available to you and start finding some of those hidden gems in the market. And if you find some, let me know in the comments of this video, because I will gladly dive deeper into them as long as it doesn't look like spam. I want to know what the project is. I want to know why I should take a look at it, and give me some entry-level fundamentals on that project in the comments of this video, and I'll take a look. And until next time, guys, thanks for joining me. Crow your coins, and I'll see you again soon.